I want to bring up something that's very unique to the region, and that's burnt ends. Can you explain to me and as well as the listeners what burnt ends consist of?
Well, basically, it's what we call barbecue gold. Okay, burnt ends is effectively the point of the brisket. So when you get a Packer brisket, you have two pieces of muscle on a Packer brisket. You have your flat. That's the piece that most of the people slice. Then you have that Luxwurst, just that unbelievable big fatty piece, the knot on the brisket, or what we call the point, or we call those the burnt ends. So the burnt end is a little bit different. We treat it a little bit different because it's a very dense muscle. So to get that great burnt end, we usually smoke it to about 210 degrees, or what we call the marshmallow. We want them to feel like marshmallows.
Wow, that's interesting right there. I want to stay with burnt ends for a moment. What are the differences between burnt ends and rib tips?
Oh, great question. Well, first of all, rib tip's going to come off a spare rib. That's what we're going to call the chine bone. So when we talk about the rib, a spare rib is really comprised of two separate muscles. It's got your chine bone, and you're going to have your rib muscle. So when you hear about St. Louis cuts ribs, that's with that chine bone removed. And I love rib tips. So rib tips, when I trim up my ribs, I usually cut them out. They're a big piece of cartilage, and I treat them just like a rib. They're not going to have the flavor and the zest of a burnt end because they just lack the fats and the connective tissues that burnt end has. But again, they're fantastic. And we sell a lot of what we call them the tips. We sell a ton of tips out here.